This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soybifa Jackrich. Britain said on Monday it would implement a new import carbon pricing mechanism by 2027, with goods imported from countries with a lower or no carbon price having to pay a levy as part of decarbonization efforts. The government said the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism (CBAM) would apply to carbon-intensive products in the iron, steel, aluminium, fertilizer, hydrogen, ceramics, glass, and cement sectors. The charge applied will depend on the amount of carbon emitted in the production of the imported goods and the gap between the carbon price applied in the country of origin, if any, and the carbon prices faced by UK producers. This should give UK industry the confidence to invest in carbonization as the world transitions to net zero. Britain said it would help reduce the risk of carbon leakage, avoiding emissions being displaced to other countries because they have a lower or no carbon price. The CBAM will work alongside the UK emissions trading scheme, it added. In September, the European Union launched the first phase of a system to impose CO2 emissions traffics on imported steel, cement, and other goods. The world's first, it will not begin collecting any CO2 emission charges at the border until 2026. That planned tariff has caused disquiet among trading partners, and at a recent forum, China's top climate envoy, Xi Zhengya, urged countries not to resort to unilateral measures such as the EU levy. At least 8 people were killed and 84 injured after a blast at an oil terminal in Guinea's capital, Conakry, early on Monday. A senior police officer said, adding that the blaze was being contained. The explosion at the West African nation's main oil terminal rocked the Kalium administrative district in downtown Conakry, blowing out the windows of several nearby homes and forcing hundreds to flee. A huge fire and billowing black smoke were seen from miles away as firefighters rushed to the area, while several tanker trucks left the depot, escorted by soldiers and police. Guinea is not an oil producer and has no oil refinery capacity. It imports refined products, which are mostly stored in the Kalium terminal and distributed via trucks across the country. The extent of the damage to the terminal is unclear for now. The country has a small oil depot at the port in Kamsa, north of Conakry, which is mostly used by mining firms. Later on Monday, a thick column of smoke and some flames were still visible after firefighters brought the fire under control. The origin of the fire was unknown, the government said in a statement, adding that an investigation will be launched to establish the cause and determine who might be responsible. The government expresses its deep concern about these events, the scale and consequences of which could have a direct impact on the population, the statement said. It urged people to stay at home and said the schools will be closed on Monday. China's economy is expected to see more favorable conditions and more opportunities than challenges in 2024, state media said, citing officials of the Chinese Communist Party's Finance and Economy Office. Macroeconomic policies will continue to provide support for economic recovery, the official Xinhua said in a detailed readout of the annual Central Economic Work Conference held from December 11th to 12th, during which top leaders set economic targets for the following year. Next year, the party officials said China will look to shift from a post-pandemic recovery to sustained consumption growth. The International Monetary Fund last month revised upward its growth forecast for China to 5.4% this year, attributing the revision to a strong post-COVID recovery. The government has set a target of around 5% the world's second largest economy will also cultivate new consumption growth areas such as smart homes, recreation and tourism, and sport events. The effect of this year's Treasury bond issuance, cuts in interest rates, tax and fee cuts, and other policies will continue into next year, the report said. China would also continue to monitor its battered real estate market and meet the reasonable financing needs of real estate companies. North Korea fired an intercontinental ballistic missile on Monday that has a range to hit anywhere in the United States, said South Korea and Japan, marking its second launch in hours as Pyongyang condemned a US-led show of force as war moves. The missile has a potential to travel more than 15,000 kilometers, that is 9,300 miles, meaning it can reach anywhere in Japan and the mainland United States. Japan's parliamentary vice minister of Defense Chingo Miyake said South Korea's National Security Council said it was a solid fuel intercontinental ballistic missile (ICBM), labeling the launch of destabilizing act that ignored international warnings and multiple UN Security Council resolutions. President Yoon Suk-yeol had ordered the upgrading of the effective operations of nuclear deterrence by South Korea and United States, it added, coinciding with the North's fifth ICBM launch of the year. China and North Korea held a high-level meeting in Beijing on Monday. Beijing, which is Pyongyang's closest ally, reaffirmed a commitment to deepen our cooperation and said discussions covered issues of common concern without elaborating. As a permanent member of the UN Security Council, China supported all resolutions imposing sanctions on the North up to 2017 for its weapons development, but has since refused to back further sanctions, saying this would only raise tensions. Monday missile was fired from an area near the capital Pyongyang towards the sea off the northeast coast and flew about 1,000 kilometers, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said. Japan's defense ministry reported the flight lasted 73 minutes, just short of the 74-minute flight by an ICBM North Korean fired in July. It reached a maximum altitude of more than 6,000 kilometers and fell into the sea west of Hokkaido, outside Japan's exclusive economic zone, Japan said. The area near the international airport serving Pyongyang is where the North previously launched ICBMs and is expected to be located off a missile assembly facility. Supermarkets in the UK and Europe are offering more own-brand festive food, from roast duck to truffle crackers, as cash-strapped families spend on Christmas meals at home while cutting down on gifts and eating out. Festive meals are being prioritized as inflation forces households to adjust their budgets, executive and market analysts say. For some grocers, it's a chance to consumers that can afford to splash out during the holidays. The trend on groceries is strong, Simon Roberts, CEO of Sainsbury's, Britain's second largest grocer, said last month. We are set for a strong food Christmas. Sainsbury's has broadened its own brand Taste the Difference premium food range, adding 170 new Christmas food products, including a ready meal for 4 of duck, potatoes and cranberry sauce for £28. That is $36. And canapes like mini smoked salmon terrine slices for £3.75. Brighton's expected to spend about £105 more on Christmas this year than in 2022, according to Barclays research, with festive food and drink expected to be the largest contributor, rising by an average of almost £26. UK market leader Texco has bought more turkeys than last year, CEO Ken Murphy said, as it expects people will go out less and spend more time at home with friends and family. Britons have bought 3.9 million liters of champagne this year, down 9% last year, according to Kantar data of the 52 weeks ending November 26th. That is the size of Top Accolade Global News Updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Monday.